Hi there, and welcome to this Mathscraft 1 class on rounding numbers. So, why do we round numbers? A number like we see here, 2.725, 874, etc., is a ridiculous number. It's not really that helpful. To make it easier, we round it to a fixed amount of decimal places, which we abbreviate DP. What this does is it estimates the number. And the more decimal places you use to round a number, the more accurate your estimate will be. So, how do we round? Let's take this number here, 4.72859. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to round it to one decimal place, 1 DP. That means we want to write an estimate of that number with only one number after the decimal point. At the moment, we've got 5 numbers after the decimal point. Now, hopefully you recall from school how we round these. So, firstly, we need to know whether to round it up or down. And to do this, we're going to look at the second number after the decimal point. And that tells us whether the first number after the point goes up or whether it stays the same. Now the rule is here. If the second number is 5 or bigger, then you round up. And if that number is less than 5, then no change. So let's round this number to one decimal place. Now we can see the 7 is the first number after the decimal place, and the 2 is the second number after the decimal place. So the 2, because it is less than 5, that means the 7 is not going to change at all. Therefore, rounding 4.72859 to one decimal place is 4.7. We've got one number after the point, which is what we want. Now we're going to round it to 2 decimal places. Now we do the same, except we're going to look at the next number along to tell us if we round. So we've now got 4.72. That's our 2 decimal places, but we need to look at the third one to see whether we're rounding up or down. Now in this case, because the 8 is bigger than 5, the 2 is going to go up by 1. So the 2 is going to go up to a 3. So therefore, rounding 4.72859 to 2 decimal places is 4.73. Now, rounded to 3 decimal places, we can see here that we've got 4.728. That's 3 numbers after the point, but we need to check this number here. Now, because this is a 5, what happens is this 8 is now going to go up. So this is now going to be written as 4.729. The 5 rounds the 8 up. So let's try this one. So we're now going to take 5.7983. So rounding this to one decimal place, we've got 5.7, and we look at the second number to tell us if that goes up or stays the same. Because the 9 is bigger than 5, the 7 is going to go up by 1, so it's going to be 5.8. So 5.7983 to one decimal place is 5.8. 2 decimal places, we've got 5.79, and we check the third one, which in this case is 8. The 8 is bigger than 5, so that means the 9 is going to go up. Now, if 9 goes up by 1, it's going to be 10, so we have to round the next one up as well. So you might want to think of this as 79, and if 79 goes up by 1, it's 80. So 5.7983 to 2 decimal places is 5.80. You must put the 0 in if it asks for the 2 decimal places there. And then 3 decimal places, 5.798. We check the next one along, the 3, and that tells us whether this 8 is going to go up or stay the same. Because 3 is less than 5, the 8 stays the same. So 5.7983 to 3 decimal places is 5.798. Right, let's do some on the board. So it tells you in each of these questions the degree of accuracy. So in this first one, we've got 1.243 to 1 decimal place. So here is our 1 decimal place, the 1.2, and then we're going to check this one along here. And that 4 tells us whether we're going to round up or stay the same. Because it's less than 5, it's going to stay the same. In this one, we've got 2 decimal places, so we've got 0.51, and we check the third one to see whether it goes up or stays the same. In this case, the 7 is bigger than 5, so that is going to round up to 0.52. Question C, 5.299 to 2 decimal places. Well, there's our 2 numbers after the point, so 5.29, and then we check this one along here. Does that round it up, or does it stay the same? Well, it rounds it up because 9 is bigger than 5. So that is now going to become 5.30. Okay, question D, 3 decimal places. So there's there 3 numbers after the point, and we check the next one along to tell us which way it rounds. So that is going to be 7.556, because the 6 at the end has rounded up the third 5 by 1. Okay, question E, 1.9998 to 2 decimal places. So we've got our 2 decimal places here, 1.99. And we're going to check this one. And what that 9 is going to do is it's going to round the next 9 up. And that's going to round the next 9 up, which is going to round the 1 up as well. So if you think of this as almost like being 199, rounds it up to 200, or in this case 2.00. It's important that you put the 2 zeros there because that gives you the 2 decimal places. Okay, this one to 5 decimal places. So that's 5 decimal places there, 4.98569. And then we've got this 5, and because that is 5, the 5 rounds things up. Okay, so that's going to round the 9 up by 1, so that's going to become 4.98570. Question G, 3 decimal places. So we've got 6.599, that's our 3 decimal places to start with, and we check the one after. Is that 5 or bigger? No, so it's going to now just stay the same. So it's going to stay as 6.599. And finally, 3.2265 to 3 decimal places. So there's our 3 decimal places, 3.226. Check the one afterwards. It's 5, so it's going to round that up to 3.227. Okay, now that's not the only type of rounding that we can do. That's decimal place rounding. What we can also do is we can round to significant figures. Now, significant figures are a way of approximating an answer as well, sometimes written SF. Okay, now the word significant means important. So the closer a digit is to the beginning of a number, the more important or significant it is. So we look at this number here, 368249. Let's say that that is the population of a city. Now, the 3 is the most significant digit, okay? If that was the number of people in a city, 368,249, the 300,000 part is the most important part there, okay? And then the 60,000 part is the next most important part, and then the 8,000 part, and so on. We can also do it for very, very small numbers. With this number here, let's say that is the mass of some sort of atom. So 0.0000058763. The most significant digit there is the 5. If there's zeros at the start of a number, they're not considered significant. Okay, and then the 8's the next most significant, and so on. So the rules of rounding are the same as before. When we round into one significant figure, we look at the first one, but we look at the second one as well to see whether we round up or down. Okay, so we've got this number here, 318249. Let's take that to be, like I said, the population of a city. So I'm going to write this 318249. Now, the first significant figure there is the 3. And we're going to check the second one to see whether we round up or down. So, because the 1 is less than 5, the 3 stays the same. And all these other numbers then turn into zeros. Now what we're saying is that population of that city could be approximated to be 300,000. That looks quite close to what it actually is. Let us do the second one. So 2 significant figures. Just write the number out again. So the first 2 are now significant. We're going to check this one to see if it rounds up or down. Now, because the 8 is bigger than 5, the 1 is now going to round up to 2. So that's going to be 32. And then as before, all these other numbers that are not underlined become zeros. So a better approximation of that city would be 320,000. That's a lot closer than the first example. Okay, so to 3 significant figures. I'm going to underline my first 3, and then I'm going to check the fourth one to see which way we're rounding. Now, because the 2 is less than 5, that 8 is going to stay the same. So we're going to write 318, and then the numbers that we've not underlined become zeros. So an even better approximation of the population of that city would be 318,000. Finally, 5 significant figures. So I'm going to underline the first 5 and then check this one here to see whether we round up or not. So because the 9 is bigger than 5, the 4 is going to round up to 5. So we get 31825 and then 0. So that's an even better approximation of the population of that city. Now, with very, very small numbers, it's very, very similar. But these zeros at the start can confuse people as well. And there's going to be a slightly different rule at the end. So if we're going to write this number here to one significant figure, the first number that is significant is the 5. So I'm going to underline all the zeros before the 5 as well, because they're not considered significant, but they still need to form part of the number. And then the second number, the 8, tells us whether we're rounding up or not. Okay, so because the 8 is bigger than 5, this 5 is going to round up to 6. And the difference here is that because we've got a very, very small number, all these other numbers here after the 5 are going to drop off. Okay, we're not going to write any, we're not going to put zeros there. We don't need to because we've got our one significant figure in the 6. We do, however, need to write all the zeros at the start because they still form part of the number. Okay, so it's 2 significant figures. going to underline first two significant figures, which is the 5 and the 8, and then check the third one to see how this rounds. So because the 7 is bigger than 5, the 8 is going to round up to 9. So we need to write all the zeros at the start as before, and then 5, 9, and then all the other numbers drop off. So to three significant figures, underline the first three significant figures, and I'm going to check the fourth one. Now, because the 6 is bigger than 5, that 7 is going to round up to 8. I'm to write all the zeros at the start if they're there. They're not significant, but they are part of the number. And then final example, 4 significant figures. We're going to underline the first 4. Check the fifth one to see which way it rounds. And because 3 is less than 5, this number is going to now stay the same. 0.000005876, and that 3 just drops off. Okay. What I would now like you to do is, if you go to Moodle and go to the Mastercraft 1 course, go to Outcome 1 Number Skills and click on Craft 1 Outcome 1 Workbook, and you will see this workbook comes up. So there's some exercises I would like you to do from this. Some I'm asking you to skip. You can go back and do them in your own time if we miss them out. So the first exercise I would like you to do is exercise 3, followed by exercise 4. That's rounding to decimal places. And then I would like you to do exercise 6. So to recap, I want you to do exercises 3, 4, and 6 for now. Okay, there'll be another lecture to follow, so please look out for that. Thanks now, and email me any questions. Goodbye.